React Npm Scripts. When using create-react-app, a new React project comes with built-in scripts to help start, build, and test a project. Like all Npm scripts, these are found in the package.json file as part of the scripts object. Npm scripts are run with the command npm run x, where x is the name of a property of a scripts object, and again within the package.json file. For example, React defines an entity called start, and so the command would be npm run start to run that associated command. However, the use of npm run start is so common for npm projects that it's been abbreviated, and the shortcut npm start can be used. In React in particular, this starts a series of processes that parse the code, create a local web server to test it, and it also even opens it in the default browser. To produce code that is ready for use on a website, React also has build, so npm run build, which will also parse the code and prepare a folder named build with the contents. These can then be copied for use for the web hosting or another system like that to show the built React code. So let's move over to Visual Studio Code and look at what these scripts look like, where they can be found. So I'm going to move over to Visual Studio Code, and we see a previous project we already set up in a previous video. We have example, which is an example React project. I've opened its source directory, and I have a listing of files here. Now I'm going to go down to here to package.json to start. So remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that within the scripts object of the package.json file. So that's what I'm looking at right here, scripts. In fact, I've already highlighted it. So package.json, where are the scripts at? Oh, well, they're right here, scripts. So in a default React project, these would be defined right here. Notice we have start, build, test, and eject. It's actually particularly very rare to use eject, but it's a possible option. Much more commonly, we're going to use start and build. Maybe we'll do a little bit of test. So start and build are the two things we really care about. So remember I said that there's a shortcut version. So instead of npm run start, we can just type npm start. And in fact, notice the tooltip, when I place the cursor over it, tells me that. This is run by the npm start command. Now there's something else we need to pay attention to. Remember, commands run in the current working directory. So right now I have a folder, mobile development, inside which is a folder example, and that is a package.json file. So if I attempted to do npm run something like npm run start, it would look for a package.json file within the local current working directory. So if I open a new terminal, so terminal, new terminal, it's going to open matching the current folder I have open in Visual Studio Code. So notice mobile development over here, mobile development down here. However, that's not where I want to be. I want to change directory. So cd change directory. Where do I want to change? Into example. So now I'm in the example folder. So now I can run any of the built-in scripts because in this folder, so in example, is package.json file, and so therefore we can run any of its npm commands. So I want to run npm run start. But remember, there's actually a shortcut version, npm space start, enter. So in React, this starts up multiple things, as I mentioned. It will start to parse the code, it will start up a test development server, and it will also open it in a local web browser. However, sometimes when it's first started, it may take a moment to get started. So we'll give this just a moment here. But remember, it's doing multiple processes, so it could take a second. So notice again, instead of running npm run start, I did npm start as a shortcut version of that, but I could have also done npm run start. And notice inside that, it called React scripts start, and then it started something else. So notice it's giving us the text starting the development server, and then over in another tab, which I'm not currently showing, it is opening up that development server it's starting in a local web browser. So we'll give it again just a second to load everything up for us. And then we'll discuss what that looks like. Notice, okay, everything went successfully. So green text compiled successfully. You can now view example, so again, matching the name of this project in the browser. So locally, here it is, the web server it's set up, and of course on the network, here's my local network address. And notice it says down here, to create a production build, use Npm Run Build, which again would do Npm Run and this right here. So let's take a look in Firefox at what this looks like. I'm going to pull up Firefox here. And we'll refresh so you can see updated code. So notice right here, we've got this running right here. Npm Run Start or Npm Start as an Npm script that comes with React. Now notice it gives us information right here. It says, oh, edit source/app.js and save to reload. This is something we're going to talk about in coming videos a lot more. When we use the command npm start or npm run start in React, it starts up a development server. The development server has something called live reload. What this means is anytime we start npm start or npm run start and the development server is running, anytime we save the file, React will reparse everything, restart the development server, and reload it within the current web browser. This is incredibly helpful, and in fact, let's see this in action. So I'm going to go back to Visual Studio Code, and it said, hey, edit source.app.js. Now there's a lot of things going on here, and we'll get into this in a future video, but I'm going to change this line right here, line 11. It says edit whatever to save and reload. I'm going to add hi. Now notice the file's unsaved, so notice right here we have a full circle over here, and of course one unsaved change. So in Visual Studio Code, to save a file, we can either on Windows, Control S, on Mac, Command S, or go to File Save or File Save As if we wanted to change it. For keyboard shortcuts, Control S. Notice as soon as I saved it, it started to recompile these files. Now, as it does that, as soon as it's done, it will update, there it goes, update in everything that's currently looking at it. So over here in Firefox, it reloaded. Notice right here, hi, it reloaded. So this is incredibly useful command for React. Npm Run Start or Npm Start, which again starts a development server or parses the code, starts a development server, and loads it in the local web browser for us. And as long as it's running, it will do, again, live reloading for us. So say we're done with messing with the development server. Now we want to run a different Npm script. To do that, we have to stop the current one. So I'm going to get back to Visual Studio Code. So over here in Visual Studio Code, you notice down here at the bottom, it says, okay, everything is running successfully. Well, I'm going to click in here, so it's highlighted. This little cursor is highlighted in here, so it has the current focus. Now, using the keyboard, I'm going to press Control-C. Let's see if we can get it to work here. I sometimes have problems with this on my keyboard. Well, so sometimes it won't always capture Control-C on here. So sometimes what you may end up doing is having to, over here, kill this terminal, which sometimes you may have to do. So I'm going to kill it. And then since I've killed it, it's no longer running that. So let's go back to Firefox. And you'll notice over here, it looks like everything's still running. But if I go to refresh, it's no longer running. So if Control-C doesn't work, and sometimes it doesn't always, then you can always kill the terminal and start a new one. So that's what I'm going to do here. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code, and let's fulfill the very end of this. So we ran Npm Run Start, or Npm Start as its shortcut, and that gave us a development server and allows us to do live reloading, incredibly useful. But I want to do Npm Run Build, right? So I don't currently have a terminal open, so terminal, new terminal. It will open a new one. Now remember, it shows the current working directory, so mobile development. Because this is a new terminal, we have to do the same thing over again. Change directory to example. Okay, npm run build. So now, just like before, it will open that up for us and we will have an optimized production build. So notice while it's working, there it goes. While it's working, it's set it up over here in build. And anytime we want to use it, we'd copy all of these files. So starting at service worker up through including the folder static, all of these things right here. So I've covered two of the possible 4 npm scripts that come with React. We looked at start and build. So remember, if we want to run npm scripts as part of a node project, it's npm run something. In the case of React, and when we can go back and look, in fact, we have start, build, test, and eject. And again, most of the time we will be looking at start and build, maybe a little bit at test, and eject is incredibly rare. So to do start, we can either do npm run start or npm start, which will start a development server, allow us to do live reloading, which again, I'll talk about more in a future video. And if we wanted to create a production build, we could do npm run build. Remember, we need npm run and then the name corresponding to a property here in this object. So either start, build, test, or eject. So in each case though, they run corresponding whatever scripts here. So start would run this, build would run this, test would run that, and of course eject would run those as well. So npm scripts with React comes with 4 built in. They are all of which are incredibly useful and can help us with stuff, and especially start and build, which are our more common usages, will either with start begin a development server, or with build a production and optimized build for us that then we could use on a web server.